Hey, everyone. Welcome to my show, My So-Called Fabulous. I'm Tiffany Blackman, and it is so good to talk to you today. It is so great to come to you today. You all know that I love everything fabulous, and sometimes life is just not so fabulous, and we are actually going to get to that today. But I have told you all I'm a wife, I'm a mom, all that fabulous stuff, but I'm also an influencer. I'm a social media influencer. I'm so proud to say that, and I just had my year birthday this past Wednesday, I believe. Anyway, happy birthday to me on Instagram. But I also have brought in a fabulous, fabulous woman that I have been so fortunate to meet in this business. And everyone, meet my guest, Audrey Dolan.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, Audrey. Okay, Audrey, I just want to tell you, let me just give you her title first. She is an influencing and branding photographer. I will talk to you about how I met her earlier, but let me, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show during this time, this pandemic of the coronavirus. Thank you for coming out. It's a terrible time.
It really is. Thank you so much for having me. I feel like it's so important right now to keep ourselves going and stay positive. So I'm excited to be here to share our message and our why.
Right. Because we have to. And, you were talking earlier and we're being very sensitive. We're explaining what we're doing, and we are being sensitive with the world, with our content, how we work. For example, your week, how has your week gone? And you typically shoot certain times?
Yes. So I usually have a very full week, but I've scaled back very far just to respect my clients and those around us. When it is time to have a session or photograph a client, we do it in a very secluded area. The blessing about being a photographer is we usually do stand 10 feet apart.
Yes.
So we aren't very close. We're very aware of our surroundings and are very respectful to that. But in the same breath, we are okay with scaling back for the greater.
Right.
But we do know the importance of creating the content because right now so much is being consumed, and it is important to keep our message going. It may have adjusted a little bit, but right now so much and so many people are online that have never been online that it's very important that I help in any way to help my clients to create the content and to continue their flow and their message.
Isn't that the truth? So I was talking with a producer, Paul. He was saying the internet, everyone is home. They're in their homes. They're on their computer. Of course, they're on their phones, on whatever device it may. And I just want positive information. You and I have a photo shoot scheduled later today, and we made the decision as a team to have it in my home. And, I go, oh my gosh, we shot so many times in my home, but guess what? You haven't shot in my home, and it's going to bring it to life in a different way. And I hope I can bring my kitchen to someone that's excited about cooking,
Yes. I'm excited to know what you're cooking and to share it with people. And and I think it's such a great move that we are moving it to your place. And we're definitely going to take the precautions, like when I walk in, when I leave,
Absolutely.
hand wash, all that good stuff. It's very much respected, but it's also great that we're pushing through during this time.
That's
sure.
right. In this time, and I put out a little IGTV video earlier this week, that we need to respect each other. We need to take care of ourselves and help people take care of themselves that are not able to take care of themselves, and respect and understand that we all think differently, and you and I were talking earlier, when you are in the public eye, and I'm just 1 year into this, when you're in the public eye, you have people that build you up and people that knock you down and people that support. And you just want to capture that audience of, I'm there for you.
Yes,
is that right?
Most definitely.
Right.
And I think that goes, and of course, I'm going to put branding and strategy all into that because that's what I do every day. And even when I try not to, it's just what I'm passionate about. But whether it's in a crisis or whether it's your everyday, the brand and the message that you send out is very important. And the people that are taking that in, you want to keep an account how they're perceiving it and then it's coming in a positive way.
Right.
And I think you do a great job being positive, and I loved your message to us because right now we all just rallying together and being on the same page is it helps us get through it.
And I'm going to say this. I'm just going to put this out there because I did get a little pushback because my husband and I, being a chef, I have a lot of people in Fort Worth and Austin that are entrepreneurs. They're restaurateurs. Their livelihood is food service. And last night, one of my best friends closed the doors on 3 of their restaurants. So when this was early on, a couple of weeks ago, I was posting at night, support local, #support And we were in that phase of seclusion and social distancing. Mm-hmm. So, I was caught between, do I support my friends? Or do I support society? Do you know what I mean? I was
most definitely.
What do I do?
Yeah. And I think that you did great. I think that we are all right now finding our way through it. I think that you can support and then give your positive message. And then also, saying the next step happened,
right.
Educating them that it did close.
Right.
And then giving a positive out of that closing, because there are a lot of positives coming out of this.
Yes.
Even though it seems like we're in the darkness.
Right.
But I don't think that there is a script. I think you have to be confident in what you choose to express to your audience. And it may sound really, really harsh, but if you're centered and you're right and you feel great about your message, they can easily unfollow you. And although it may sting, it does sting. Mm-hmm. And I'm a pleaser. Mm-hmm. I'm a pleaser. I take photos. I want my client to be happy.
Yes.
But they can find a different message if your message is not theirs. They have a right, just like you have a right, that if they know you and they follow you enough, that they know that your intent was positive.
Right.
I will suggest too, if you are on the fence about it, then don't address it.
There you go.
If you're not 100% confident in it.
Right. Well, that is such great advice. So let me explain to you all how I met this wonderful woman. And so being in the influence world, and I'm going to really open my heart here and divulge a few things, but started influencing, and I'm 55. And so I'm kind of at the older spectrum of the influencing arena. And there are, so I'm in Fort Worth the majority of the time, and Dallas, but there's not a lot of us my age over here. So I was looking to my demographic over in Dallas. So I was watching these women, and one of them, Tanya Smith, I know her personally, but I was watching, and of course, her stories, you are laying on the ground with your camera, taking a picture. So I told Hillary, my social media manager, I'm like, watching her. So then I saw you with another, Alicia Wood. I'm like, okay, this girl is someone, because we are kind of in that phase of finding a photographer and someone that understands our brand and our look. So I found you, went to your website, and I went, no, I bet she's too busy. And we reached out. You had a phone consult, and here we are today. She's taking my second photo shoot today.
Yes, I am super busy, but I think your work ethic, let's be honest, the influencer world can be perceived in very many ways. Mm-hmm. There are some that want to be Instagram famous, but like I've said many times, that influencers and bloggers are some of the hardest working people. And if you aren't, it can weed it out. And so I always leave my door open for new clients. And this is nothing negative to, previous clients I've had in the past, but some will fall off because it's a lot to keep up with. So I work every single day. I'm doing great about, I've worked hard enough where I can officially take Saturdays and Sundays off.
That's great.
Beginning years, I never did. But this is a business that I can work Monday through Friday, and I constantly work. So I am so flattered that you reached out to me, but I always keep my door open because it's the work ethic of the client and the strategy that they go into it that helps, keep them a sustainable brand.
Wow.
And that's what you are. You are a brand and you are a business. And if you go into being a blogger like that, then you will continue to have success.
Well, Audrey, that's interesting you say, because I told you all this morning, I got up at 4, did my workout, started working on a recipe, was getting ready for this, researching with you on you. And I have had a career in the food world, and I've branded a lot of people in my career, but I've never worked harder than I do now. I don't take a day off. I've never in my life, and I'm so proud of that. But the podcast, the blog, and you look and you go, we're missing some pieces here. So, but teamwork too, right?
Yes, you're doing amazing. And I love that you have a podcast. I love that you have different outlets to carry your message. Mm-hmm. I think that puts a grittiness and some gumption in your brand. Mm-hmm. You're not a shallow blogger. And I get very protective of that when someone's like, a blogger, because
stigma.
Oh my goodness, they work so hard.
They do.
And a lot of these people have degrees, and they're not just women. And I am telling if there's a man out there, really consider the message. And if you want to call it an influencer, call it a blog, call it a brand, it's a business, mm-hmm. and there's such a need for it. And whether it's for being a chef, mm-hmm. or the direction you want to go with it. This is the way our world is. We can say that, online, Facebook, Instagram, and judge it, but it's that fast-moving train of this is what marketing and business looks like these days. So you can hop on and create the ride that you choose, or you can watch that train fly by and be late.
That's right. And I'm so glad we're doing this, because I do have some friends and family that are honestly looking at me at this phase of my life going, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? And I tell you, just talking about his work so hard, I'm having so much fun. I mean, this is fun.
It really is. I love it. And like you said, you saw me with Tanya and Alicia. We laugh. Mm-hmm. We're working really hard. There's a lot of steps and people that are involved, but the relationships and the times we've had,
yes,
it's so much fun. And when you see the reason and the direction that
mm-hmm.
you're going.
What is so exciting is when I wake up in the morning, I immediately open my app, and I am going to get where you are, where I do put, and Hillary is trying to help me get there, but I'm going to get to the point where I can relax. But I get up every morning, check my followers. Thank you for following me, people. I check my followers. I look who's dropped off. I've gotten rid of the app to see who has not followed me. That's toxic.
I've never downloaded that.
It's toxic.
I can't do it.
Yeah, it's toxic. So, but I have to say, I wake up and I'll have a comment or a direct message. My mother, when I did the podcast that was aired this week, the people that I reach that's going through that, it just makes my heart so happy that, oh my gosh, we are possibly making a difference, So,
oh, most definitely. I mean, that's what I said right when I walked into the room. I was like, I was a young mom. My mom is going through this right now. I mean, that makes me have hope that mm-hmm. even though that I'm going through those struggles, I see just how wonderful you are and what a strong woman that you have become because of it, yes. and that you're okay.
That's right.
And we're going to be okay.
And your mom is young, just like mine was,
yes,
right? Going through a lot. And she has
Alzheimer's.
Oh my goodness.
And dementia. So it's a little bit,
right.
She's still doing pretty good. She's doing pretty good. Yeah. But this was a woman that had some fire in her. She was spicy when she was young.
She's like, yeah, you're just like her, right?
Yes. My dad and my husband would agree.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I want to share your history and tell us a little bit, because I have the date, and I'm not great with dates, but I know in 2011, that's when my husband and I got married, and I noticed 2011 is when you were a wedding photographer, correct?
Yes. I started. It was so funny. I photographed my first wedding for $500.
Oh my God. You're joking.
Look how far I've came.
$500?
Yes.
Oh my
$500. And it was literally like ignorance was bliss. It really was. And I was so excited. It was in a small town, and I really just didn't know what I was getting into. And
you were so excited for that $500, weren't you?
I was.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I didn't really have to work at the time. It was just like, oh my goodness.
Right.
it was literally ignorance was bliss. And I'm so thankful for the ignorance.
How did you decide to do? Because did you go to school for photography? Or?
No, I got the degree of Google.
Okay.
From Google. It was, and we've talked about this. I searched, I wanted to get a family photo to put above my fireplace. I called to get a quote, and it was like hundreds and hundreds of dollars for like a 20-minute session. And I was like, oh, goodness. So instead, I took the money and bought a camera and taught myself. My kids were young at the time.
Right.
And I just started taking photos of myself. Now, I never got that photo above the fireplace because I just started taking everyone else's photos. And what's also funny, I still hardly ever get family photos.
Oh, my goodness.
I never have time.
The cobbler's kids have no shoes.
That's correct.
It's true.
It's so true.
It is true.
And then my kids are kind of like, oh, Mom, really? I have a teenager and my daughter's 11. They're like, they hardly will even let me take an iPhone photo.
Oh.
It's just like pulling teeth.
You're not cool.
No, I'm so uncool.
You're so uncool. And you're not very smart, too. I've been through that phase. My daughter thinks I'm smart now at 21.
Oh, yes.
See, there's hope.
There is hope. There is hope.
Right.
I will tell you, having a teenager right now feels like free falling.
Oh,
but
my goodness. You have a 16-year-old, don't you?
Yes, the 16-year-old boy.
Oh, my. Okay. Yes.
That says it all.
That's right.
Yes.
So the photography world, so you just taught yourself.
Yes, I taught myself, and then, you can listen so much, but when you really get hands-on and you really just start getting in different situations. So I feel like wedding photography really helped me prepare as we work with bloggers and influencers and brands, that there are so many different locations that we photograph and you need to adjust. And just like at a wedding, whether it's rain or shine, that wedding is going to happen.
Right.
And you have to be prepared and confident. It can be difficult, but if you just keep pressing on, you will learn how to shoot, to edit, and to get the final image, that you're striving for. Over the years, being a wedding photographer, and then I, of course, would photograph families during the holiday times. Being in the industry, I had met a makeup artist, and the makeup artist asked me if I would photograph like some makeup tutorials for her blog. And like the confident, smart aleck I was like, well, how much do blogger photographers make? Because I'm a wedding photographer, very confident and a little too confident.
Oh, my goodness.
And shamefully confident. And she told me, and I kind of laughed. I was like, I just don't see, because I'm very business oriented. I am about, I run my photography business like a business.
You're an entrepreneur.
Yes, ma'am. And so when she told me that, I was very reluctant, but I actually photographed sessions for her for free and this was a while back, because I was so unknown of it and I didn't know if I could provide the services for her that she was looking for at that standard, because I really feel like a wedding photographer, and this is why it's important to me niching down, because you being a chef, there's new tools every day. There are new ways to cook. There's different health information that is rolling out every day. So I didn't take it lightly to be asked upon for that because I wasn't educated on it. When I started to do it, it just so happened, and I don't know if anyone's familiar with reward style or
yes. Like it to know.
Like
it.
Yes. And so what happened is like a month later, the reward style came into town in Dallas, and a photographer wasn't able to photograph and show up. So the lady that the makeup artist that was a good friend of mine was like, hey, so-and-so is looking for a photographer. And I told her you.
Wow.
And so I wasn't, she was very influential. She'd been a blogger for years, and then she had her blogger friends that I didn't realize the level of the women that I was working with. So again, ignorance was bliss.
Right.
And I showed up and I started taking photos. Well, beknownst to me, this was an amazing blogger. I don't know if you know Ashley Nichols with Little Lovely's blog. And I was unbeknownst to me that this was who that was, but I loved it. And I loved the photos that came out of it. And so I was like, okay. And so I really started niching down and I really got educated on the business aspects of what blogging and business is. And basically, with social media, it gives women and men a platform to educate and market products on the same platform as the large businesses.
Right.
So we are equals to, the biggest of companies, let's say, Nordstrom or anywhere that you shop that has, let's face it, Louis Vuitton, all these famous businesses and designers, it puts us on the same level. They are marketing on social media and Instagram. So it creates a BFF marketing and they create a strategy. And when I started learning about all of these business aspects, it just started getting me so excited that I slowly started not taking weddings and investing my business. And each year my business grew 30%.
Really?
Yes. And it is to this moment.
Wow.
And it makes me so excited. So as on the business end, when I laughed thinking I was special, I did not, I'm shameful of that perspective at the time. And, but I absolutely am so passionate about it. And what happened with working with influencers and bloggers, small businesses wanted to be perceived as the same. It can be very stale. It can be very like, when you look at a dentist's website, you're like, they don't even know that person.
Right.
And they want to be known. And if we all have gone to, the dentist, it's not very inviting and engaging. So creating content for business that is showing the services and aspects that they offer in a viewed as an influencer or a blogger scene, it becomes more engagement and the relationship is formed.
Right.
So over these years, I've developed my business on that. And it's had such a great success for my clients and for myself. And I'm like forever grateful for the wedding industry for that.
Of course. Absolutely.
That I got to meet the sweet lady that had me.
Do you miss the wedding side of it?
I honestly don't. Okay. I'm just going to be 100.
No.
I do not. No. I loved the brides and the relationship that I've built with brides. They're wonderful women. And even the husband's so much fun. Right. But I don't miss it. Right. I love business and I love the strategy. Right. Especially now. So when can you recall, what year was that transition? Oh, gosh, I know. How many? 3 or 4, at least 4. I want to say 3, but time really flies. 3 or 4 years ago. And it's like less than 5 ago. Yes. So when you made that transition, and Instagram has changed so much, and I say that because it's our platform, a large platform, but it's changed so much with the reward style. And I do remember when you and I met a couple of months ago, our first time we'd been turned down. We hadn't been answered for reward style, like it to know it, and we were just accepted. See, isn't that crazy? That is so wonderful. Yes. You just got to keep going. Keep going because, and if those of you that do not know, it's the Like It to Know It app and reward style. And so you're accepted and it's amazing because it just sits, to me, it's a different level. Okay. Selling what I'm wearing, right? Yes, right? Yes. It allows you to monetize and share the hard work that you've put into finding certain things that you want your audience to see. Right. It puts the monetization in it and it backs you up and it gives you another platform to share your outlook on fashion or. Right. Being a fabulous chef. Right. Well, my friend, I was telling her, I said, oh my gosh, we were accepted. And she goes, what is that? So showing a group of my people and my audience and my friends that they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that it existed. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty neat thing. It very much is. And I'm so proud of you for that. And it also shows that you haven't given up. No. And that's what's very important if someone's coming into this field is it's not just an Instagram photo. Mm-hmm. It really isn't. You really have to put in some depth to each thing that you do. And I even say this to the clients that I work with. What are you making easier for your audience? Mm-hmm. I love being educated and helped. And what are you have to serve your clients.
Right.
This is a service. It's not just, I mean, I love the fashion. Do not get me wrong. I get so excited just like the next person.
Right.
But you also help. You help in a sense of, you went somewhere and I was like, oh my goodness, I love how elegant that outfit looked. I have this event, and I want to portray myself as, to look this way in this circumstance.
Right.
So it could be perceived as that we're flashing all this beautiful things, but it's not. There's reasons, and if your audience is looking for that, then you're doing a amazing job.
Right. And it is interesting because, we're all, and I do look, and I was telling you earlier, my problem, one of many problems is, I do compare myself so much because it being the 55. So there's a side of me that I'm so confident. And then there's that other side of going, oh my gosh, do I right? The panic feeling. And I don't like that at all. But you were saying, stop comparing, right? We're all different. We all have a different message. You have a different message than a different photographer.
Definitely. And we spoke of this as well. Be confident in your brand and your strategy and what message that you want to, share with your audience. Be confident in that. And it's total human nature to compare. Like I said, I would love to be a supermodel, but I also love cookies.
Right.
And so you take a little, it's a give and take relationship with yourself. You can't beat yourself up too much. It's okay to be influenced. After all, that's what we're in, that is our business, but in a positive way, to keep you motivated, but not to put yourself down.
Right.
I am the expert at putting myself down, but I also say there's a bigger picture. And if you look at that bigger picture, it takes different time. What is that saying that they said? The popcorn kernels, they're all put in the same heat, but they pop at a different time.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Oh my goodness. Is that not the truth?
I love that.
It's
true.
Yes.
It's true. Some aren't quite ready yet.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. This brings me to, my daughter's 21 and she's had Instagram for years and years. Well, she's like, Mom, I started it when I was in, in 8th grade or something. But, we're not perfect. We all have it, just like you and I were speaking. We all have insecurities. And I look at some of the girls and young men that they're looking at the Kylie Jenners and they want to be that. My daughter, last night we were talking and she goes, I just hate my nose and I need to do something about it. And
she's
I went,
beautiful.
I'm like, okay, all right, let's just reel it in a little bit. So there is that, you know what I mean? Like that heavy comparison. And I'm not doing a good job as a mom comparing myself and announcing this, but you know what I'm saying? It's tough for kids.
But you are announcing that you do the same.
Right.
So I think that's great that your daughter knows that you feel the same way sometimes.
Yes.
But yes, there is the moment that I'm an influencer and branding photographer. Of course, I want people to consume, the imagery and the things that I put out there. But there's also a time that we have to have a great mental space. My husband will probably listen to this and be like, and you struggle with this too, because I lean on him and I lean on, and it's to reinforce what you're saying to your daughter and give her the confidence is a great thing. She may not give you, like immediate, like, okay, Mom, you're right. Our kids seldom do.
No.
But to have that voice, because I have gotten to the place that the only opinion that solely matters in the end are what my husband and my children say.
Yes.
That if they do not support and they feel that I have become a person that is not great, then, and there have been moments that are like, okay, you need to scale back a little bit, Audrey, because I am an entrepreneur. We like to, meet those goals and be successful, and success lives and breathes to us. But if they feel a certain way, that's the only opinion that matters. Or I have to get to that point. It does sting when someone doesn't approve. But if they don't approve, then I have to adjust on the back end. But if you have people surrounding you that keep giving you a positive message, hopefully that will outweigh the toxicity that's taken in from social media.
I'm going to expose myself. This morning I woke up and I was a mess. I mean, I was a little, and when I walked in, we were talking about, why are you a mess? Is it the coronavirus? Is it, the economy, all that. But, I had some insecurities this morning because I still go back to, I'm like, why? My husband's like, what is wrong with you? You are media trained. You have done, I'm like, I'm not worried about that. I am concerned because am I good enough to have this level of photography? And you know what I mean? Like, I'm opening myself up, people. I mean, and I'm like, okay, get it together. And my daughter looked at me and she said, Mom, she sees something in you.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like,
yes.
Okay. So those of you out there that are starting whatever business you are in right now, I bet you there's a lot of businesses being festered in people's minds because they're at home with nothing to do. It's that leap. It's that, okay, I am good enough, right?
You're
know what I'm
most
saying?
definitely.
Yeah.
And I struggle with the same thing after all these years. I surround myself. I do go to therapy every week. I have not publicly said that, so I'm going to put that out there.
It's tune up.
Yes. What's the saying? So we take medicine to feel better.
Yes.
We need to do that for our mental health. And I'm proud of that because it gives me, the opportunity. And we've talked about this too. We put pressure on ourselves to be fantastic. But I feel the same thing about you. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're investing so much time in your business and I needed to do a really good job for you and make sure that people see all the great things that you do. So I'm very hard on myself and very honored to have the opportunity to work with small business and influencers and bloggers that are putting a lot of their own money, their own time. It's a very large investment.
Oh, it's huge.
And if I do not come across and deliver those deliverables, marketing can make or break someone. And if that falls flat, then it could be detrimental to a business for sure.
Right. That's right. And it is, you're investing so much. Oh my goodness. The financial end at this point, it's tough. Everyone, it is tough. It's a lot. And, but you just keep looking, okay, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. But yeah, it's just different. So let's go to, you do more than bloggers. You do small businesses or businesses as well, correct?
Yes. With vlogging and influencing, I think that across the board in the marketing world, the authentic self is who consumers and people want to see. This whole, in the old days where there were, very stale advertisements and very just kind of unrelatable commercials
Sure.
or things.
Print publication.
And now they want the real you. And so now they want, the first thing I do is this, whether it's a dentist or whether it's, going somewhere to eat, the number one thing we do is grab our phones and we look it up. And I feel like if you're running or starting a business right now and you are not on social media, it is your digital business card. You have to be. Right. This gives you, it's free. Why are you not doing it? And iPhones are so easy to create images that you don't have. Now I'm just going to throw my business out the window. I'm like, you don't have to have a professional photographer.
Yes, I do.
And that's why I did create a workshop to help small businesses to be confident in the images that they take. Because if you aren't creating engaging content, you're missing out on a possible sale. And let's be honest, this is a job. We do certain things to make income. Some need it more than others. I would love to say that I'm just a photographer and I can give my services away for free because I'm just so, but this is a business. Being an influencer is a business, and then running a business such as being, a restaurant or a dentist, or I keep saying dentist. Like,
that's okay. That's okay, because you have beautiful teeth.
Yes, no, I need to go. But yes, it's very important to create an engagement in a relationship before they walk in. And I think I'm saying dentist because I do work with one
You do.
That creates an atmosphere that makes you feel like you're not at the dentist, that you can look on her social media and you're just like, oh my gosh, I just want to go to meet her.
Right.
And when you do that, that makes of all things a dentist, which creates fear, brings a comfort. And if you're, provide a service, if it brings a comfort and it serves someone, they're going to create a relationship. And you spoke of the coronavirus right now, that is giving some angst to people. When you are creating that engagement and relationship, although it may feel like a very high task for the influencer, it is help filling that void and angst for a lot of people right now.
Right.
And that's why it's very important for a small business, an influencer, to continue a little bit of normalcy. And being consistent is very key.
Isn't that the truth? Posting at the same time and everything. So when I discovered you, as I would say, on social media, of course, when I found you, I remembered, so we reached out to you and you said, I'm really busy because I saw on your Instagram you're doing a workshop.
Yes.
You're really busy. Let's wait until Monday to have a phone consult. And so here I go, start checking on your workshop. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how can I get into this workshop? Well, it was Thursday and you had it Saturday or Friday, whatever.
Yes.
So tell us about the workshop, because you know what? I mean, I immediately thought, is this something my team needs, right? So,
oh my goodness. I feel like any person would benefit. And we had Tanya Foster there that you mentioned. That's how you found me. And other wonderful people, Rebecca. And it's basically how do I say that word? Shined a light? Is that correct? My southernness came out.
We get along for another reason. We're both so southern.
But it really shows how it's not just a pretty photo, and it showed the grit, and the creating an image is very simple. And I kind of broke down how to take, photos in manual mode, all that technical stuff. But it also, what blew me away and of how everyone was so thankful and affected by the workshop. It got such positive praise from not only the speakers, but the guests. And I literally cried happy tears as I went to sleep that night, because receiving all the positive feedback, because I really have no secrets. Back when I started as a photographer, it was no one knew what a preset was. No one knew what a filter was. There was no filters. There were no aesthetics. Photographers were very protective of that information. And I want to make that road easier for people. I want to share and serve and give that information, because and even with clients that hire me as a photographer, I get so proud because they'll take their own photos and I'll be like, oh my goodness, great job. I'll see a business that did a flat lay or took a photo of themselves, and I can see them emulating what we did. And I get so proud because it's so possible, because in the end, they're accelerating their business. We're doing this for income to support our families. And it's so important. And when I see, because I will follow my clients, I want to see how something is perceived. If it didn't go the direction that we went. So the workshop really opened up the strategy for clients, and it educated them where, like we spoke about, the influencer blogging, branding strategy. It opened up the door for businesses to completely understand it, that it's not a pretty photo. It's about engagement in a relationship. And the attendees at the workshop were just amazing. And we literally were on the floor taking photos, flat lays. It was it was a lot of fun.
So, okay, tell us the name of the workshop.
It's the Basics to Photography workshop.
Who is your audience? Who was in the audience?
So we had
attendees.
Oh my goodness, I was blown away. We had a heart surgeon. It's one of the only female. And her Instagram and is almost like what do they call it, as a blog, and she shares so much information about heart health. And she's a surgeon, and she is one. I'm going to mess up her statistics, but they're absolutely amazing. I'm so honored to be in her presence. And then she's just so excited And so she was there. It was a surgeon. There were other photographers there. There was a wedding photographer. There were influencers and bloggers there that wanted to learn to take their own photos. I always say, I even need a photographer to take my own photos.
Right.
I have a really wonderful friend that helps me. I will set the settings and she will go with me and we will photograph my branding imagery. But I have to have someone there to help me.
Really?
So I always say, like, educate yourself to learn to take great images and video in between your professional sessions. I think there's definitely a time for professional photos, so don't X this out.
Right.
But continuing that imagery flow will help ease the stress and anxiety. I think it's really important because we all put a lot of pressure on to show up and be consistent, but then it's like we're scratching to find that content to put out there. So I always try to relieve that stress, to educate your audience or my audience to take a great photo and relieve it just a little bit in between your professional photo shoots.
So tell me this, and I am really, I'm not, you're saying you're throwing your career out the window, but tell me, because I have professional photos and then we'll take a photo on iPhone. Is that okay? Is
Yes.
it, I mean,
some of the most outstanding bloggers will not even use professional photos. I actually work with several bloggers that if you go to their feed, they only use iPhone photos on their feed. But when we do larger jobs, because when you are with Reward Style, this is marketing. This is educating people about products and things. They need professional imagery to go to the client. So when the client hires an influencer or blogger, it could be Nordstrom, it could be whoever the client is to hire you to educate about a new product. A lot of skincare products, people will hire you to do that. They want professional imagery, but then they want your own, where it's not so staged. So authentic. A little bit of authenticity, goes a long way, without, throwing us photographers out the window too much.
No, yeah.
But you can do that. And I think with the type of imagery I offer, there's very much a difference. Wedding photography is a different scale compared to, I'm not going to sit and spend hours on a photo unless asked of me. It depends on where the image is going to be used and if I need to add a building, if I need to add clouds,
right.
That's a whole different level.
Wow.
So we create images that are a little bit more engaging and not as like high end as if we were shooting something as a wedding or something that's a little bit more. That's going to be, I always say, hanging over your fireplace.
Right.
So it's definitely not a bad thing to kind of interchange.
Right.
As a professional photographer, I don't post anything on my iPhone except in the stories.
Right.
Because I don't want it to be misleading as far as like in my feed or on my website. But in my stories, I also have a blog post about how to take better iPhone photos.
Right. Absolutely. Right. So in your workshop, did people have their iPhones?
Oh, yes.
They did?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
They had their iPhones and they had cameras. They had both.
Right. Right. I've owned cameras throughout my life and I've never used one. I'm so scared of cameras.
But you know what? I think it's important to also delegate your tasks.
Yep. Stay in your lane.
Everybody, yes.
Yes.
Everybody is different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think that you should, stress yourself out over it. That's why I think it's very important to relieve the anxiety, delegate where you need to.
Exactly. Let everyone do their job. My husband, which just sold his company recently, he says that I swear that's the key to his success was, hire people smarter than you are and stay in your lane.
Yes.
Paul, my producer, just hired an accountant. I'm like, what are you doing your accounting? Seriously, right? That's not his forte nor mine. And so I have to agree with that. Definitely have to agree with that.
I hired a virtual assistant that has her MBA. I have the diploma from Google.
And it's a good one.
Yes, and I'm very proud of that.
Right.
She's absolutely amazing, and she has added so many different elements that I wanted to bring to my consumers. because I still wanted to be readily available for my photography clients, but I also wanted someone to be able to educate my audience. And so she takes that from me, and I delegate all the ideas that I want to educate people, and she puts that in writing for me.
Right.
So I'm able to get that information out.
That's stress out because you are very diligent on, you don't answer, you're like, I know you're at its phase of your life. We just said earlier, you don't answer emails, but can you imagine sitting and having to quicken everything on your Sunday afternoon?
Oh, I know.
No. So yeah, you should. And that's the thing, Hillary, my social media manager, is trying to I won't let go of some of the things with Instagram because I just learn about it. I start checking out and researching everything. And she's like, you've got to let go. I mean, you need to, not the stories. And
no, it takes a while. It took me, I just recently got the assistant. Don't let me be overconfident. I was doing tons of things by myself.
Right.
And I was running myself, ragged and not being the person that I wanted to be, I always like to be bubbly, but it took years. That's why we were talking about the popcorn.
Yes.
It takes years. I've been doing this for years to be able to not work Saturday and Sunday. All of my children's lives, I was photographing pretty much all of their lives. Saturdays and Sundays I worked.
Weddings.
And it was Friday nights, Saturdays. And I was proud. I was so proud of my work ethic. I wouldn't be able to be confident where I am now, but it took all those years to be able to be, not able to answer Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
There are moments that I will. There are, speaking engagements that will come up on a Saturday that I'm so excited to be
Sure.
And those aren't easy either. Like, you have to be prepared for those.
Oh, my
those take a lot of time.
It does take a lot of time, and I really do. And I think I'm at the age I'm learning. So I just, I wasn't very proud of, like you said, when you said, oh, I'm a wedding photographer, there's the old me. I don't like her very much. there was things I did. I just roll my eyes, things that you've done before. I remember, being on, I had a television segment in Dallas I was in my 20s, and it was raining, it was pouring. I mean, they're on a time crunch, right? I just walked in like I own the place. I'm 27 years old. Who are you? You know what I mean? Like, who do you think you are? So that person I don't like. But my point is, I'm finally, people sitting, let go. And I did ask Hillary, well, then what am I going to do? I mean, what am I going to do? You do what you do and I do what but it's hard to let go. It's
really
so
is.
hard, in so many phases of my life, right?
I haven't let go. People will say, oh, let go of your editing. Like, let someone else edit.
No,
I can't do
that.
it. I can't do it. I can't do it because I'm an art, in a sense, I'm an artist.
You are an artist.
So when I do that, I'm like, they're not going to do that correctly. I want to sometimes because I will say, and I feel like I'm at the stage in my life that I have put my health on the back burner to, get a business going and reach a certain amount of success in these things, that I would love, in time to continue to develop my business to where I'm confident into letting some things go.
Right.
Because I would like to, spend a little bit more of me time. Of course, my family comes first, but taking care of me will take care of them.
That's right. And you know what? I've said this with several of my guests on the show, but you know what our number one job is? We're a mom. I mean, we are a mom. And, if the kids, and you're so busy and you're editing or you're doing what you're doing, and if your kids want to talk, you always stop and listen. I've told my husband that, and everyone, if they just say, hey, Mom, you just stop what you're doing and turn your attention and listen to everything they have to say. I mean, because you're a mom.
Let me tell you, I will be 100% honest. When I was listening to your podcast and you said that, it really made me evaluate if I do that.
Right.
Because I feel like I do, but then it made me go, do I? Because I do have an office at home, and I will get a little like, it doesn't matter to them what time it is. Because in my mind, I stop at 5 o'clock.
Right.
In their mind, they do not care what time it is. They have this right now.
Right.
So I will honestly say I'm still working on that.
Yeah. Well, I would love to say I made that up, but I had a great mentor in my 30s because I had Kennedy around 34. So, and I didn't want to stop working either. So, and I couldn't. I was a single mom several years after, but I remember, the car seat phase. I remember her, mom. And I remember someone telling me that, my mentor back then. And I remember pulling on the side of the road and just turning around and was, yes. And I think she forgot what she wanted. She just wanted my attention because I obviously wasn't getting to her. And, I listen to my advice. I really do. But my daughter now, she will go, Mom, when you're finished with your phone, I have to tell you something.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, Lord, I'm 55 and have a device in my hand all the time. But it's true. You listen to your advice and you're making sure that I'm listening to my advice, So,
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, and I know I'm rolling back to being an influencer but that's 100% why I appreciate and the message and your message of being vulnerable enough to share that information. That's what being an influencer is. And you influenced me, whether we work together or not. It was my choice to engage in on that content.
Right.
And that helped me be a better mom, and learn to be an entrepreneur and juggle both. And that also shows, even though I've been in this business for years, there's always still something to learn,
Yes.
And how to intertwine business and being a mom and balancing those. That's serving people that are now learning, that everyone that's at home right now in America are now learning how to balance that right now.
Absolutely balance.
And where they never had to tell their child to go away while they are working with, and I'm with very high high-end clients. Like, this is important that they are working from home. That your child, just thanks your mom.
Well, and now it just occurred to me, you're homeschooling your children now, right? Because they're all online, right?
Yes.
You are. So there's that you have to balance.
Yes, I am blessed there. And I will honestly say I cannot be where I am without my kids or my husband.
Oh, my goodness.
The Lord blessed me so big with them because they are all patient and wonderful. But yes, they are right now, they're so easy. Yes. I'm so blessed. I do not think my children are perfect, but 11 and 16, like, they've logged in. They have already received all their online education that they already have it set up. They set it up a few days ago.
Wow.
And so they check in and they do their attendance and all of that online. So
isn't it amazing where schools had to turn? I mean, all of a sudden.
It's amazing, and it's so neat.
Isn't it?
In the same breath, they're still growing, and the teachers are, God bless the teacher.
Oh my heavens. I was a teacher at one point.
Were you?
Yikes. Yeah.
Yes.
High school. I was 21 teaching 18-year-old kids.
Oh my goodness.
Yikes. I know. That was a long time ago, but yes, I mean, teachers are, that's a different podcast, but they're underpaid, they're underappreciated.
Yes.
I mean, we're paying athletes millions. And
I would say high school coaches or middle school even elementary coaches, coaches were a big impact because I loved sports. So that was a big impact on my life. And with children not being able to have that outlet right now, I know that's hard.
Yesterday I was driving down University in Fort Worth, and there was no one there. There was no one in University Shopping Center. Everything was closed. Then I went down to my neighborhood, the back way. I had to go over to the grocery store. So I went back the back way and coming through, and there were people playing in the park, dads out, moms, kids riding bike, of course, social distancing a little bit. But I was like, oh, okay, wait, is this Saturday? No, it was Thursday afternoon, and I just, it's just eerie. It's just an eerie time. I digress back to the coronavirus. But yes, I can only imagine. My daughter's 21. She's coming home. She's at TCU, but she's coming home. She's down the street. She has her own place. But, she's like, Mom, this is going to be difficult because some ADHD. Monday I start class like I've never done before. I've never done an online class. And, that's just a new challenge for these kids.
It really is. And I think there will be a lot of, I think there'll be a lot of positive
Yes.
and a lot of things that they are going to be grateful for.
Right.
That is going to come out.
There is definitely a silver lining in here somewhere. And, we see the green. We see the green. Right now we're in the red, but we definitely see the green. Okay. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
So let's say you have 5 influencers that are your clients. Do you approach every single shoot differently?
Yes.
How do you?
So I'm very, I always look to the blogger. So what is different about influencers and, bloggers when I photograph them is if I was taking your family photo or if I was photographing a wedding, I am in lead of that. But this is your production. This is your business and your take on a product or whatever it is that you want to photograph and tell your audience. So I go off of each blogger's direction. That is sometimes difficult. So whether it's location or our message that we're coming across, each person tells that story differently. So I take the lead of what the blogger wants to say, and then I photograph it accordingly. But yes, each person is different. Every single one. There is never a shoot that is the same, no matter if it is the same person. On a photographer standpoint, it would be like the day, sun. There's many aspects, the technical aspects, and then it's also the story that you're wanting to tell.
Because if you look at someone's feed, and I just learned this, recently in the last year of it, someone's feed may be, I can't remember the girl I saw. Everything she photographs is turquoise.
Yes.
Every single thing is turquoise. We're bright. It's just right.
Yes.
And that's a challenge.
Yes. So everyone's aesthetic is different. So you spoke of Alicia. She has a lot of blue.
Yes.
Her color is blue.
Right.
And she's fabulous at that. Now she's not wearing blue every time, but it's integrating pieces that are blue. So if she's wearing a white dress, the pillow behind her may be blue.
Wow.
So it's really creating the strategy and the vision that you want to, give to your clients. And it's okay that you don't. It's okay if you don't want to spend the time to do that. You don't have to. I have some clients that aren't worried with that.
Right.
But then they like bright and vibrant colors. And then I have clients that are like, I like moody and some oranger tones.
Sure.
So I work with them on that. My feed, I do my best to do true to color with vibrance.
Right.
I choose true to color, but if a client doesn't, that's not what they're delivered. So if their feed needs to be different, that's what I give them. But I choose to keep my aesthetics to be true to color with vibrance.
Wow, that's amazing. So in the journey to where we are, and I know you with branding, you're very familiar with this. So we went through a process because we started my blog, my name, Tiffany's Lifestyle, and we were Tiffany Blue, the turquoise of the jewelry store. There's no way to match it perfectly because they own that. And I have a dear friend that's a trademarking attorney, and he called me and he said, you will get a letter and they will shut you down, and you haven't started your blog yet. So you need to go through the trademarking process. Oh, my stars, talk about money. And we are trademarked with my so-called fabulous, but we were turquoise and we took it down because it was like this. Someone goes to my blog and they go, she works for Tiffany's, the jewelry store. Oh my gosh, let me check on her. Let me check her out. So, and I wasn't trying to do that. I'm not that person, but it was because Tiffany blue is my favorite color. But it was interesting, the trademarking, and it blew me away. Just the process of a business, because I've never had my own business, So you know how Yeah, it is.
Yes,
It's
for
crazy.
sure.
The trademarking process.
Yes, it is. And then I was going to say too, it's a very important key because you know how hard that you work, which
Yes.
I know that your intentions were not ill at all because you're just the sweetest. But
Right.
if someone created a podcast that was similar to your name, it would you'd be like, oh no, I
Yes.
worked too hard.
Hold up.
So it's definitely important. But I love that you go through the process. And that's why I was saying that that's definitely what sets you apart. There are a lot of people that think that if you throw up an Instagram or throw up a Facebook that you have a business, and that's not the case.
Not the case, and it's true. I could not believe, but it's exactly right. It's just like, for example, TCU pays a lot of money to trademark their horn frog and that purple. And if someone takes that brand, that logo and uses it, there's a fine. So we went to a workshop with my attorneys that they gave for small business owners. And it's true. It's your fiduciary duty to report that.
Yes.
I was just blown away. Of course, I'm 55 and I'm learning so much about so much, but the branding is exactly what you're doing.
Yes. And that rolls back into what I was saying. Look how wonderful the platforms are that you were able to you're on the same playing field.
Right.
So it makes it important to trademark and educate ourselves about it. And then it's also amazing that we can be on the same playing field.
Absolutely.
That's what gets me so excited.
Yes.
Is that you can have a vision, you can have a dream, and, put it into motion. And, of course, make those steps like trademark, definitely educate and
Check
do
the
those
box.
things. But you can put yourself on there with Tiffany's.
Right.
And you can, you're also in a great position to influence people that Tiffany's is one of your favorites and this is your favorite color. And that's okay to intertwine that passion. So I would never let that go, for sure.
Well, Audrey, it has been absolutely fabulous. And then another thing that I'm not pointing out, everyone, the wonderful people that I meet and I've met already, and I know that I will continue to connect with. We feel like we know each other very well because our life is on social media. But it has been a pleasure. I am so blessed and so excited to work with you, and I'm so impressed with your business. When is your next workshop? Or it's on hold?
So it is. We're kind of in lingo right now because it's May 15th.
Okay.
So it's kind of like on the very end. But I think what I would love to do, and I'm going to make sure our speakers, because we have some wonderful speakers, I want to make sure that they're available, but I would love to push it back so there's a little bit more time and positivity rolling into that.
Oh, absolutely.
But I do want to tell you, thank you for having me. I'm inspired by you and your work ethic.
You as well.
I mean, I'm so honored to work with you.
Well, thank you. Okay, so tell us your platforms, the name of your platforms, Instagram.
So you can find me on Instagram at Audrey Dolan. And then, of course, it's AUDRIE Dollins, and that's DOLLINS.
Right.
And then it's AudreyDollins.com. And then Facebook is the same.
Same thing.
Yes.
Well, great. Everyone, continue following me and follow me. Please rate and review this podcast that you're listening to today. And follow me at Tiffany C. Blackman on Instagram and Tiffany Collins and Tiffany Blackman on Facebook. And everyone, stay safe out there. Be kind. We love you. And we're going to kick this. We're going to get rid of Corona. I promise. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone.